Good evening, Holliston, and welcome to a special meeting of the Holliston School Committee on February 3rd, 2026. It's 7:02, and we are ready to begin. I will call to order, and so at this meeting, we've been doing a lot of interviewing and working on our superintendent search, and tonight we just have the one agenda item for our regular session, which is deliberation of superintendent candidates. I wanted to start the meeting by just kind of briefly reviewing the process that we've been going through over the last few months. Let's see, where are my notes? Okay, so we started this process back in the fall. We worked with HYA, which is an executive search firm. They helped us. We worked on a community survey which went out to everyone and went out to students, teachers, community members, staff, people with children in the district, people, parents, people without students in the district. So from that survey, we received over 600 responses, which was a great response. We also ran a number of interviews and forums with students, teachers, paras, administrative, admin staff, support staff, nurses, HFT leadership, the PTO, HMAPA, CPAC, Diverse Holliston, town officials, Parks and Rec, Youth and Family Services, the center. We worked with the police chief, the fire chief, emergency services. We also ran two community forums. One was in person, one was via Zoom. We really did our best to try and reach as many people as we could, because we wanted to gather as much information as possible to help us understand what is our district needing and looking for right now in a superintendent. All of that information was compiled to help create a leadership profile of the candidate that would be that best fit. With the help of the search firm, about 60 candidates were recruited, and then from those 60 candidates, about 29 candidates applied. And then from that selection, we ended up with 6 people that were interviewed over the course of a weekend as semifinalists. And at this point, we have 3 finalists that we're considering tonight. Each of the 3 finalists spent a day in the district last week. The finalists met with students, they met with staff, town officials, school committee. They took tours of all of the schools. They had a very long day, and we thank them for really spending their time with us to learn about the district, because it's a fit both ways. It's a fit for us and a fit, for them. So we're really trying to make sure that we get that cohesion where we're going to be able to work wonderfully together as we move forward. Their day ended with a 90-minute interview, and that was broadcast and recorded. We really appreciate that so many from the community took time in a very short period, over the weekend. They watched the interviews. They either did it live or via YouTube. We're kind of amazed that the YouTube recordings show over between 600 and 800 views for each candidate. So to me, that's a really remarkable number, considering it was a tight turnaround. We know it was a tight turnaround, and we appreciate the community's attention to this really important matter over the course of the weekend. Additionally, we received excellent feedback from so many of you via either the feedback form that we sent out, but we also got a lot of emails and phone calls, and even stopped on the sidewalk kind of conversation. So it really stood out to me that people are really interested and vested and really eager to support the schools and to help us make a good decision for the district. So again, I can't thank everyone enough for their support and interest in this decision. So at this point, we're really trying to find that best fit for the district. We have 3 really wonderful candidates that each have their own strengths. And I think each of them would make a great superintendent. So right now we have the really difficult decision to choose the one that we think is that best fit. It's probably, for me, it's one of the hardest decisions we've made so far. So please, bear with us, because I know the feedback was really candid and passionate and caring and thoughtful. I thought people took time to really explain the strengths that they saw in each of the candidates. And I was really just impressed to read all of the reviews. So it really did help inform our decisions as we're moving forward. So thank you. Let's see what else. So I just want to sincerely acknowledge how grateful we are to have such highly qualified and strong candidates that we can take under consideration. As we prepare to deliberate and vote, I also want to emphasize that regardless of the outcome, the selected candidate will have the full and unified support of the entire school committee as we move forward. And I want also for the public to understand that this is our deliberation. This is where we really discuss with each other what we think is going to be the best fit. And we'll probably focus mostly on the positive qualities that each of these people bring to the could bring to our district. So anyway, with that, I don't have anything else that I would like to say. So I don't know, Hillary, would you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I really was enthusiastic about the community engagement in such a short period of time, and also that we had 3 really strong candidates, I felt. So this has been a really difficult decision to consider over the weekend. Throughout the past week, in addition to attending the community forums and the interviews, I've been rewatching the candidate interviews. I've been reading the survey responses and considering the different strengths and experiences that each candidate brings. I felt we had a really strong pool, and all 3 have the experience and skill to be good leaders. But that being said, in making a decision, I, like Sarah said, want to consider what I feel Holliston needs most at this time. Thinking about the MSBA process, the high school, potentially difficult budget years, and the ability to lead and unite our district to the changes ahead. So with that in mind, I feel like Dr. Parson and Dr. Carter have the experience that might be the closest match to what Holliston needs right now. And I'd like to recommend Dr. Chemo Carter as our next superintendent. Throughout his interviews and the community forums, and from speaking with staff who have worked directly with him, I heard some clear themes that spoke to the experiences and key areas that would benefit Holliston, namely a deep knowledge of curriculum instruction and a strong commitment to equity and student belonging. Throughout the interview process, he shared multiple examples that demonstrated his commitment in action. He spoke about making decisions grounded in core values, especially during moments of conflict or in emotionally charged situations. He discussed taking a proactive stance on equity and inclusion, discussing his work on a DEIB committee in Weston and his role in developing a long-range DEI plan, emphasizing a curriculum that integrates these themes, the use of universal design for learning, or UDL, and maintaining high expectations for all students, and highlighted examples where they brought in grading for equity and really valuing students' cultural and language backgrounds as assets. I also felt he demonstrated a collaborative and community-focused leadership style, sharing examples of instructional walkthroughs, team-based delegation, building strong community, learning communities, and developing pipelines for paraprofessionals to become teachers. Finally, I would say that he brings a lot of experience in emphasizing student agency, which aligns well with the work that is already happening in Holliston. He shared examples of the high school citizenship course in Weston, promoting student voice in classroom learning and encouraging students to serve and participate actively in their community. So based on the experiences he shared and that we learned about him, I feel like he would be the strongest in supporting the programs that are already in place in Holliston and further enhancing and elevating student learning experiences.
Thank you. Frank, do you want to go next?
Yes, I can go next. I voice what Hillary said, and I won't repeat anything, but at the same time, I think all three candidates shown definitely strengths in different areas, which made this decision all that much harder. So for me, it came down to where do we need the most help, right? Where do we need the most growth? I think through all the interviews you heard, and I think through all the discussions we've had and continue to have, the budget and our MSBA is probably the biggest unknown. The budget we have a handle on, the MSBA, it's a whole new journey for all of us in many ways. But I also think the word trust came up a lot in the community survey, and building trust with our community. And it's not just words, but actions, and bringing different organizations together, our different boards together, parents, teachers, staff, central office, school committee, is not easy. So in looking at the experience that all three candidates had, I do believe for me it was between Dr. Carter and Dr. Parson, with both having clear examples of leadership in different ways, and all positive. I think areas where we would grow from either of their leadership. For me, because I thought through more, and like Hillary, going through the interviews, I think twice now I've gone through them. The feedback, every which way you can slice, dice, and review. Getting calls, texts, conversations, the most conversations I've had on the phone, I think, in a very long time. All very good conversations as I dug deeper and really came down to the wire. I truly believe our community needs a unifier. And in that, I see the strongest candidate in Dr. Kimo Carter. Everything that he said in terms of how he not just brings the educational system to a whole new level, building on the programs that we have, but honestly being humble about not knowing all the budget pieces. And we have to figure out the MSBA, and being able to say that is a huge step forward, at least for me, that he will learn. If you come in and say you know that thing, those processes, and you don't, then you're behind. So I do think we will certainly, as a community, need to support him in that. But the positives that he'd bring to our community is immense. I think one big thing that stuck me with in his interview was having conversation with the dissenters even after the debate is done, right? And that's not easy to do. When you have a strong debate and you win, you walk away. But I think for him to have that courage, I think, is important, because that's not the last conversation we'll have with likely the other party. Like, we have to continue it. Building up our union partnership with our union leaders, the teachers and staff. I think we've seen challenging years, and I'm hopeful for the years ahead with if he were to accept it and then this proceeds with him. I think he will bring a lot of positive momentum with all parties involved, especially as we go into a negotiation year. There was the only downsides being, and then just is the budget and MSBA piece. And I do think we could get over those, though. So that's why I did not play a huge role in my decision.
Tracy or Joe, who wants to go next?
Well, I'll start.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I second and I third what has been said about the quality of the candidates. That's definitely been impressive, and it has been a tough decision, and the community has been great about reaching out. The question came up frequently for me as I was sort of reflecting on all this, and from some of the people I've spoken with, like, what does our district need at this point? And for me, I'm sort of focusing on 4 pieces, and I think that's sort of overseeing the excellence that is currently being done and where we can move that forward. Managing the stakeholders, communication between the parties, bringing those all together. certainly the MSBA project, as well as direct operations, and then this community, this idea of bringing our community together, both outside of the school system together. With that in mind, for me, Jen Parson is actually, I think, the best candidate to do all of those things. I think it's important to choose a candidate that has experience with all four, and not just excellence in one area. And so, kind of breaking down those things, each of those areas for me. The curriculum instruction piece is huge. We're here to educate our children and move forward with that. But we are about to enter into a process to hire a curriculum instruction director. So for me, although that is an important piece, I focus a little bit more on the experience in bringing programs up that we already have in place. I don't think we're a district that needs to start from the ground up. I think we have a lot of solid programs and a lot of great educators doing good work, that we need someone who can bring that together and elevate but not recreate. And work with the curriculum instruction director, not sort of take over from them. I was really impressed with Dr. Parson when she talked frequently about not just coming up with these ideas, but what the implementation looked like when she actually put them into the classroom. I've worked in education long enough to know that buzzwords and new initiatives come up constantly, and the teachers on the ground are, they understand what it really means, and they're the ones that are actually doing that work. And for me, Dr. Parson was one that could actually make the work on the ground in the classrooms sort of come to life a little bit better. I also liked her focus on differentiated learning and DEI with the curriculum that we have in place as well. And I liked she was looking at what the outcomes were for all of these programs with that in mind. Second part, sort of the managing personnel. For me, the education community is not that big, and I had a number of colleagues in different districts that have worked with Dr. Parson, and I didn't get any negative response, and it was from paraprofessionals, teachers, people who, again, are doing this work and spoke so highly of her as a leader in their communities. And I always sort of take with a grain of salt when you're calling references or checking with people who are in sort of higher level positions, because I don't know, this oftentimes an angle, whereas the people that are in the school doing the work, and so I put a lot of sort of faith in that. I also like that Dr. Parson was on the school committee. I think it's a unique perspective that she has, because she knows what it's like to sit at this table, what it's like to have the community look at us and judge everything that comes out of our mouth, everything that we say. And she's been, I think it was 9 years, doing that work, and that's, I think, important. I also liked when she spoke about her collegial relationships that she has with partnering schools in terms of our teacher retention and bringing in diverse candidates. That's how we're going to get our name out there. We're a small town, sort of not even close to the highway. So having the ability to bring in students from some of those partnerships, I think would be really important for our vision and our district. I also think experience is really going to matter with the MSBA project, and her involvement with that in, I believe it was Northborough, as well as still staying in touch with that network of people in that community who are doing this work and working with us. That's going to only be an asset as we move forward with that. And then I also, sort of that fourth part, the community, not just for our school-based stakeholders, but I think the community is really deserving of a leader who's going to be part of our everyday fabric. And so it's one thing to show up at sporting events or musical events or things like that, but I think Dr. Parson herself mentioned that she we shop in the same grocery stores, or we're at the same Target checkout line, and I think that's a different level of vested interest and success to be so close and be so part of this community that I think she'd be fabulous of the ability to respond to comments and interactions and really be a part of our community versus sort of removed and come in to do the school day and removed from the school day. So with all that said, I think Dr. Parson has not just one piece of our educational puzzle. I think she has all the pieces that we truly need, and her experience, I think, matters a lot.
Before I begin, I just wanted to give kudos to the screening committee. You had a very difficult decision, and you put a lot of work into the process. And you've given us 3 phenomenal candidates, and we're very appreciative of that. I wanted to thank the community for all of their input, whether that was through text, in-person conversation, office hours, messages, and the Google Sheet that we sent out. All of that input was valuable, and it's going to help us make our decision this evening. I think Chemo Carter is a great candidate. I appreciate that he's averse to top-down leadership and, like he said, rather leading from the middle and collaborating with everyone in his current district. I love that he involves students in his decision-making, and I think that someone with his personality can restore trust. But I do want to speak in favor of Jen Parson, and Tracy kind of stole my thunder. I think that experience matters. She's been in leadership for 25 years in education, including as a current superintendent. She does the work now. As Hillary said, budgeting is very difficult, year in and year out. She has experience with budgets, albeit a little smaller, but she does have that experience. I think that with our MSBA project coming up, it's important to have someone who can hit the ground running. And in her interview, she had mentioned that she has experience with that. And finally, as Tracy said, she has sat in our seats. I mean, granted, another town, but she's been on a school committee, and she knows what it takes to build a relationship with a superintendent because she has done it. And so with that, I hope that we move forward with Jen Parsons.
Thank you. Should I go? I think I'll go, if that's okay.
Sure, prerogative, man.
So I am looking back at kind of the characteristics that rose to the top after we did the survey and developed the leadership profile, and it was talking about fostering a positive professional climate of mutual trust and respect among faculty, staff, and administrators. That was what came out as the top criteria that we're looking for. And I sat in on one of the community forums with Chemo Carter, and what stayed with me when he answered his first question, one of the first questions that came from one of the community members had to do with how would he deal with difficult people. Because there's always people who are a little more confrontational, whether it's a parent or someone who doesn't like something that's going on in the school or in the community. And I really appreciated how he answered that question. And he talked about taking on an approach that really went into try and understand what was behind the concern. He said that usually it's something that the person deep down cares about very much, and it often has to do with their own child. And so he just brought he kind of looked behind what the confrontation was to understand what was the real underlying reason for it. And he talked about it being a really noble thing to be out there looking out for your child and advocating for them, and that as a leader he would really try and understand what people were coming to him for, with issues, really look beyond the issue itself and understand where they were coming from. So I liked that approach. It felt very kind and understanding and patient, and I felt like it would be an example of how he would create connections with not just parents, but teachers, staff, the whole community. So to me, his focus on core values, his approach to collaboration, listening with curiosity, respect, and kindness, working toward building trust and valuing input, it all led to a high level of emotional intelligence that I thought would be really beneficial for us to have as a leader. Again, some of the things that Hillary and Frank shared, but the way he talked about responding to hate incidents, his support of DEI, really the understanding that our students can't learn well if they don't feel safe and supportive first. So that was kind of the core way that he was viewing how to make student success paramount. Let's see. He's coming from an incredibly rigorous district, so I expect that he will bring that type of rigor here as well, and that focus on academic excellence. Ultimately, I just got the sense that his leadership skills would really help us to foster a culture of mutual respect among staff, administrators, and the community. He was very thoughtful in his responses and genuine, and so I guess for me, Kimo Carter is who I would love to see here at the district moving forward. So. Do you have any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts? Sure.
I usually do. Boy, this was a tough one, and for all good reasons. I went back and forth all weekend and really kind of struggled more than I expected I would with this decision. I think that we have three strong candidates. I did narrow it down to two. I think that at the end of the day, I wanted someone from a more similar sized district to us, or with experience in similar sized districts. And so, it came down to Dr. Parson and Dr. Carter. For me, it was tough. I loved, Dr. Parson's experience on the school committee and sort of the work she's done, and coming from Hopkinton, knowing the region. I loved a lot of the stuff that Dr. Carter talked about with the network, and being in the center of the network, and really kind of being inclusive with all views, and so it was really, for me, it was sort of almost a tie, and then we started sort of getting some the community feedback, and I think that one of the things that I don't feel like I've done great in my time on the school committee is to sort of listen to the community as much as I think maybe we should have. And sometimes there's a good reason for that. We have asymmetric information. We know things that sort of are moving our opinions one way or the other. But in this case, there really wasn't any asymmetric information. I mean, the people were who you saw them to be. We weren't getting lots of reports about issues or anything like that. So it really wasn't. So as I looked through the comments from regular community members who don't have kids in the school, parents and guardians, the staff, and students, it was pretty evident that across the board, to varying degrees, Dr. Carter was the sort of favorite amongst the community of those who sort of voiced a specific sort of candidate that they wanted. And so I kind of at the end of the day sort of let the scales tip based upon that feedback. And so I think that both would be excellent, but at the end of the day, I'm going to support Dr. Carter to be our next superintendent.
Thank you.
The difficulty in going last is a lot of this has been said, but I want to just go back and thank the members of the screening committee and the time they put into this, everyone who has been part of these interviews, and the community that really rose to the challenge of watching the interviews over the weekend and providing feedback. I was very surprised and happy with how much feedback we got from community members, from students that took the time to meet the candidates, staff, parents, guardians, staff at all levels, right? And I think it was really important for us to hear that. I'm grateful that I was able to hear from the candidates at both the screening committee interviews and the interviews this past week. We've read your comments. I've read them more than once. A few of them resonated with me. And again, I also think that we have two very strong candidates here, and I struggled with this as well. One of the things that was said about Dr. Parsons is colleagues report she's able to engage in difficult conversations directly while handling them with grace, balancing clarity with genuine support for people. She's widely viewed as well-informed with a strong command of teaching and learning, and brings a depth of experience as a superintendent who has made complex decisions related to curriculum curriculum, personnel, and budget. And that resonated with me. I really thought, I saw a lot of strengths in Dr. Parson, and this is a difficult decision. That being said, there were also comments regarding Dr. Carter, and I think Sarah just spoke to it. When we went out to the community and we looked at what was important, the mutual trust and respect, the approach to collaboration, all of those things were of utmost importance. And I, like you, Tracy, I'm looking at this through the lens, too, of communication, collaborative leadership, budget, negotiations, MSBA experience. And, I was excited to hear about Dr. Parsons' experience with MSBA, but I'm going to segue back to Dr. Carter here. Some of the reflections from the community on Dr. Carter. I like that he wants to build the trust back and improve it. I like his approach to Holliston, to look at the strategic plan, listen, learn. What's in the plan that we want to keep? What do we want to change? He wants to acknowledge the work of teachers and build on their strengths. And that resonated with me through both interviews. I think, there were other comments about how he has the most relevant experience of working in a district similar to ours, and he showed clear passion for working with students, teachers, and the community. His response to the question about communication especially stood out to me. While the other two candidates shared the email platforms they used, Dr. Carter focused on the root of communication, showing an understanding of the tension in our district. He said that when people think there isn't clear communication, what they really mean is that they feel their leadership isn't listening to them, and that is exactly some of the challenges we've had. Based on the empathy and thoughtfulness Dr. Carter showed in his interview, I have confidence that he would work to understand the perspectives of all stakeholders in the district before making decisions. I also liked his idea about collaborating with local colleges to support their teaching programs and our staffing shortages, as well as his specific examples of how he has led his district through outbreaks of hate and anti-Semitism. So I think it was the specificity in a number, and I know at times the responses seem lengthy, but they were appreciated because it was the specificity and the experience and examples in response to our questions that, and a lot of just the thoughtfulness and emotional intelligence that I thought I saw is really what won me over. But again, this is a difficult decision. In terms of my work on the committee with budget and our work in the past with negotiations, there were, in evaluating both candidates, I felt like that Dr. Carter was stronger in those areas. And again, this comes from, having a lot of feedback. We've all received feedback, whether it's through conversations or the survey, reaching out to references, and speaking with people within the districts. So I'm also in favor of Dr. Carter.
Okay. Does anyone have any other comments?
Question. So I guess I'm not really, we're focusing on the positive, so clearly I am outnumbered here. But I have some counterpoints, I guess, but I'm not sure quite how to present that best. I agree that listening to everyone is involved and, combing through everything. One of the common themes, people agree, they want that sense of trust. But I think we are also looking for someone who knows and knows how to lead. And we have such big, important things that how much growth and how much time do we have to give an individual that to get there? And with the budget being what it is, and it's not getting better moving forward, with the MSBA project only in the very early stages, with all the pieces that are coming forward, are we giving enough credit to Dr. Parson, who has done all of the pieces that we've looked at? And I think that needs a little bit more than the social emotional part of bringing the community together. So I don't know.
I struggled with the same, Tracy. And where I landed was, and I think the emotional intelligence piece, talking about leading from the middle. I don't think we leverage our community's individual strengths enough, and we rely too much on a leader at times. There are times where a leader is absolutely needed and a hard decision needs to be made, and it needs to be made. We deal with it a lot, and we hear about it as a committee. However, I do think there's an opportunity to think differently. And I struggled the same, and I was leaning. You asked me which hour in the last weekend, and it'd be a different answer. I think there's an opportunity for our community to think different, and to have a leader that thinks different, and that honestly stretches our community. Now, that is a risk. I mentioned the budget, I mentioned MSBA. I think we have a lot of intelligent, skilled people in this town that will come together and help us do it. I think where we've struggled is we have not always gotten that support with how we've engaged. So if we engage differently, do we bring the best of all minds together to get something done? And could that be brought together by Dr. Carter? Or, it doesn't happen, right? And that's the risk we have to take. That's why this vote is he mentioned the weight of the chair. This is the weight of the vote. The weight of this vote is significant because where we go from here is there's nothing that's certain. And all three candidates, but if we isolate the Dr. Parson and Dr. Carter, they had there were areas where they have experience or not. And I wouldn't say there was one that was the perfect candidate to everything we were looking for. I think there were definitely areas where they were stronger than others. I agree she definitely, though, had the role of superintendent, specific areas that she worked through. But I think Dr. Carter brings that think different mantra and ability to think differently for our community.
For me, I agree with everything that you said, Tracy, about how we should be considering this, and also all the strengths that Dr. Parson brings to this position. She has deep experience in Hopkinton and Plainville and Milford as school committee member that made this incredibly difficult. So as I was looking at the two candidates and considering Dr. Carter's experience in Weston and his comments and the community feedback, one of the things I asked myself was, do I feel like he could grow starting on day one from assistant superintendent in Weston to superintendent in Holliston? And I feel like he has had many different experiences as assistant superintendent. Yes, mainly focused on curriculum instruction, but he has done work, contract negotiations with the union. He has supported the budget process, and he's in a district with a central office and a district size and a K-12 district that is a little more similar to Holliston. And I feel like the learning gaps he's acknowledged and could overcome and would have support, but they wouldn't be large learning gaps. I felt very strongly that he brought a lot to this, and those areas where there's some less experience that he acknowledged were areas that he could easily hit the ground running and build that experience.
I also like the leadership he displayed when discussing their challenges with changing the high school schedule. Having that be near and dear to our heart, and having, if we put a mirror up to ourselves, I think we could all say that we could have done that a little bit better. I liked the way that he approached that, worked through that, help build consensus among the staff, the students, the community, and then as Frank mentioned, is going back and talking to the people who were on the side that didn't end up going forward, and even still working with them. So I do think he's shown leadership, and that to me is while a change in schedule is obviously impacts curriculum, it's more than just a sort of a curriculum type of thing. So I think that it's something like that where you take something where we have struggled, and he seems to at least have been able to lead a better process than certainly we were able to do. That gives me comfort with that.
Any other comments? No. Is anyone ready to vote? So I guess I'd entertain a motion
To vote for superintendent?
to vote for.
The motion would be, I recommend we appoint to be, superintendent of schools starting July 1st, 2026, subject to contract negotiations. Someone make.
Well, you basically make the motion.
No, I did not make the motion.
You can make the
I was
motion.
just forming the
I guess I'd entertain a motion to appoint Dr. James Chemo Carter as superintendent of Holliston Schools starting July 1st, 2026.
Moved by Dawn,
subject to contract negotiations.
subject to contract
Subject to
negotiations.
contract negotiations.
And moved by Dawn.
Second.
All in favor?
Do a roll call.
We'll do a roll call vote. Frank?
Yes.
Tracy?
No.
Hillary?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Dan?
Yes.
Frank? Oh, sorry, Joe.
No.
Sorry, it's been a long week. Okay. So with that, it passes 5-2.
Is there any interest in revoting to show support unanimously? I mean, this is not. I'm not. If everyone doesn't want to do it, if people don't want to do it, they absolutely shouldn't. But I've seen a lot of boards do that where there has been, non-unanimity, at least initially, just to sort of demonstrate that that support for the incoming person.
Yeah, I mean, look, he wasn't my first choice, obviously, but I think he is a great candidate. So I'll make that motion. I move that we unanimously, by acclamation, vote for Dr. Chemo Carter, subject to contract negotiations, as the next superintendent of Holliston Public Schools.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you.
Do you want to take a recess and
Okay.
call?
Should we just do a recess? Is that?
I think so,
Is
yes.
that okay? So we're going to take a brief recess, and we will be back in like 5 minutes.
Do we need to wait till we're back on HCAT too?
Everyone dropped off the Zoom.
So, hello again, Holliston. Don and I just gave Chemo a call, and he is thrilled, and he wanted us to express his sincere appreciation to everyone. He's very excited. He said, "I'm ready to go." So, I think it's exciting. And anyway, thank you.
So do you want to go over the announcement letter
Sure.
before we just go in? I sent you a couple of versions.
Yes.
Not sure how this would go, but
Do we all have them?
no.
No, I will
didn't-
share
didn't
them
wanna,
right now.
Yeah, share that out.
Hold on, let me just.
I kept it incredibly short for me, so it's only 3 pages.
No, it's no.
Yeah, but we
At what point do you announce it? At the end or the beginning?
actually 4 times. No, it's
You
like
gotta spend more time cutting it down
No, it's
a-
short. It's short. It's
half a
short.
page.
here. Okay.
Sorry, I'll get it. Just can't get all the names in.
It really.
Okay. I think I gave it to everyone. Yep.
Incredibly excited.
I got approval to actually put that in.
Yes.
Thank you for your attention.
I did not do that. I did not do that.
Oh boy.
I heard graduation this year is going to be the Kennedy Center.
Stop.
Is it joining the HPS? I know what that stands for, but it sounds weird.
Where do you see that?
Dr.
Sure.
will be joining the
I-
HPS from Weston.
Yeah, we can spell it out.
We'll be joining HPS.
Doing AP.
Joining Holliston
Sure,
Public
yeah,
Schools.
sorry.
Yeah.
Don't we have to for ADA purposes?
Oh, good.
Well, I spelled it out
Joe.
above there.
No, all of them need to be. All of them?
You can't,
Oh,
Where's Dan?
I thought it was all the way I took it. I thought
really? So there's no more abbreviations for anything?
Yeah, that's the way I took it, but I thought you were talking about the word the.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's right. But I agree, though, on the ADA. That's a good point.
do you want it to spell out?
Yeah, let's spell it out.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
HSC, if we're going with that, HSC is at the bottom as well.
I try to keep it down, but you guys just,
Should we write up doctor?
I mean,
Do we have to say please join us in unofficially welcoming? I get it's not official.
I thought that was something we should discuss,
Okay.
but because it isn't like a done deal, I didn't want to like officially.
Warm welcome. Can we say
Just say
warm welcoming? Or
It's fine. I just wanted to make sure,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah. Awesome.
The most annoying thing doing all of these was that Word will not allow quotation marks to be saved in the name of a document.
Yeah. You never knew that?
No, it was just annoying.
Is it ed.m for his master's?
So that's actually a master's in education.
Yeah, no, but edd. Isn't there a period? Or no?
Hillary.
Hillary and.
I don't know.
But isn't there?
I think I went off of the.
ED dot-
I think I was looking at the resumes.
ed.d.
I don't know, Tracy. Do you know?
I don't know, I thought it was an MED.
Well, yeah, but then Harvard does something weird when they do EDMs.
It
Yeah.
does have ed.m.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where. That's what I was.
Okay. Apparently I didn't use the resumes. I thought I did.
Yeah. I know.
And is it a BAB.A? Right?
I don't know. I think it's fine either way.
Unless it's Harvard, in which case it's
If
an
Hillary,
AP.
hey, if Hillary says okay.
I'm not the grammar police.
Oh, it's an ed.
Isn't it B dot?
Dot M.
Oh,
Wait, oh no. No, ed.d. Sorry.
yeah, but we both did it at the same time. So
Just only one person.
Too many cooks in the.
Yeah.
I'm taking the hands off.
Okay.
And what about?
I'm BA, and you
Should
got to
just
do
spell
it.
it out. Bachelor's of Arts.
Oh, no.
Bachelor of
Oh,
Arts.
no, not if
No.
I abbreviated the others.
Yeah.
Okay.
But do we put periods in?
I think so, but we should look it up.
I think once the periods are decided, we're in a good spot. I don't think there's supposed to be a space between the two Ds. No, I don't think so either, but.
In the Doctor of Education.
Yeah, I've created enough.
BA is the modern version, and B.A. is also widely accepted.
Is what?
Is widely accepted.
Okay.
I still do the Harvard
I would
comma
put the-
beforehand, so
just
I'm
to be
like,
consistent.
I'm not the one to,
That's the correct.
and double spacing between periods and.
Like you learned on a typewriter.
I get a lot of flack for it.
I would give you flack for that.
Okay.
I also still type on a typewriter.
Anything else?
I think this looks good.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion.
Motion to approve the communication to announce Dr. Kimo Carter's appointment.
Subject to contract negotiations.
Subject to contract, well, the
The
communication.
So moved.
Okay.
Second by Dawn.
All in favor? That passes. Anything else we need to do here tonight? Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion. Gosh, where's my agenda? Entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, non-union incoming 2026 superintendent.
So moved.
Second? We'll do a roll, from which we will not return, right?
Yep.
Okay. Roll call, we'll do Frank?
Yep.
Tracy?
Yeah.
Hillary?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Dan?
Yes.
And Frank, Joe?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. So with that, good night, Holliston. And again, thank you for all your support through this process. And good night.